there's this guy at my work, right? And when I first started, he was so nice, literally was like, hey, like, whatever, how's your day? He wasn't like exactly like that, but like, whatever. He was just really nice, really friendly, cool people, okay? He told another coworker, oh my God, I like her, like, tell her and then let me know how she's feeling. She told me. I said, man's is not my type. I come into work the next day. I'm thinking everything's fine, everything's cool, everything's great. Literally, man's ignores my presence. I'm not even there. I'm air. I'm like a ghost. This man will not make eye contact with me. He will not acknowledge my presence.
Could we talk for a moment about Me Too? You've rejected the idea that we should always believe the victim in a rape.
Well, that's
accusation.
obvious. That's what happened in the Lynch cases in the 1950s in the United States. The victim was always believed.
Yes, and I was going to say that's fair enough. But why not accept the situation as being the victim deserves to be treated as if she's telling the truth in our attempts to get at the truth, and in doing that, we do our best not to re-victimize her.
Because that isn't how the adversarial system works, and I don't think
But
that we
why
have
not advocate for that?
Because
Rather
the
than
adversarial system is a very effective judicial system, and it's certainly the case that among crimes that are falsely reported, rape crimes are at the top of the list. So there is no believing the victim. There's no reason for people to assume that when they enter the criminal justice system that they're going to be treated with kid gloves or treated easily.
Man's flirt, depending on how he looks and presents, is another man's sexual harassment.
Yes, yes.
And we are not doing a good job as women being able to explain why it's sexual harassment versus being an attractive opportunity. Men are frustrated. Men are not understanding what is the difference and why am I a threat if I'm being kind to you. So because of your behavior, women, I am now going to pull back my finances and resources. I'm now going to reduce my presence. I'm going to reduce my intentions, my effort.
The Me Too development began with ladies venturing forward, asserting their voice and highlighting the unforgiving, real factors of provocation and disparity they confronted. What's more, the objective to request acknowledgement, regard, and a stronger voice in the public eye. Yet, here's the awkward truth. This development didn't simply raise ladies up. It left a ton of men feeling like they've been pushed into the corner, marked as dangers only for existing in the working environment. What started as a push for regard and reasonableness has at times bent into an unfriendly scene for men. Presently, many folks feel like they're strolling in a dangerous situation, continually apprehensive that one misjudged word or honest connection could backfire. The message has moved from looking for balance to nearly dealing with men like they're blameworthy until demonstrated honest, and it's left some doubting, assuming that they even have a place in the expert space any longer. Here is the rude awakening. Assuming correspondence is the objective, we've lost the plot. Genuine fairness isn't tied in with shifting the scales up until this point that one side feels continually enduring an onslaught or superfluous. Now is the right time to quit imagining that lifting one gathering implies hauling one more through the mud. Since supposing that is how forward, then we're simply supplanting one issue with another.
So I used to work with all men, and people would always be like, oh, you must get hit on all the time if you work with all men. But what I had to explain was that actually in settings where it's like 70% men, 30% women, the women get hit on all the time. But in this case, I was literally the only woman on a 20-person team. And in those cases, the men just act like there are no women there and they ignore you. At least that's what I told myself.
I just walked by a construction site and nobody tried to holler at me. Did I lose it?
Only became aware of the Me Too movement in 2017 when Rose McGowan, a white wealthy woman who was a famous actress, brought it up. But it was actually started all the way back in 2006 by Tarana Burke, an African-American social activist. Women of color have been speaking up about sexual abuse in low-income workspaces for ages, but they never garnered the same attention as a rich white actress.
A few men are currently effectively avoiding connections with female partners, not on the grounds that they need to, but since they're terrified of what a solitary remark or innocuous motion may be turned into, this isn't distrustfulness, it's self-safeguarding. The feeling of dread toward being misconstrued or hit with an allegation has made a wall, making men rethink each discussion, each handshake, each word. Furthermore, prepare to have your mind blown. This best to be as cautious as possible approach is destroying cooperation, depleting efficiency, and killing any feeling of veritable joint effort in the workplace. Also, the outcome? A working environment where individuals are sneaking around one another as opposed to cooperating, where trust is meager and veritable association is through the window. Can we just look at things objectively for a minute? Each activity has a response. Furthermore, assuming we continue to push a climate where doubt bests trust, we're set out toward a work culture that is probably basically as warm and welcoming as a cool void meeting room.
So if you're in the workplace and somebody puts their hand on your waist and it's unwanted and you go to human resources, the person who did that could be accused of sexual assault. Now, if you get any man on the street...
Y'all don't agree at all? Okay.
So if you're in the workplace and somebody puts their hand on your waist and it's unwanted and you go to human resources, the person who did that could be accused of sexual assault. Now, if you get any man on the street or any man or woman on the street and say to them, so-and-so was convicted of sexual assault, in that person's mind, that's the same as rape.
Yeah.
Okay, and so yes, there are a tremendous number of levels that are going to differentiate the seriousness between the hand on the waist, which is unwanted, and should be dealt with. If somebody touches you in a way that you're not comfortable with, you should say to that person, I'm uncomfortable with you touching me this way.
The Me Too movement in 2017 raised awareness to numerous stories of sexual abuse of women in the workplace. And not only was the movement successful in exposing individuals like Harvey Weinstein, it even had an impact on public policy. But like anything, the pendulum swings both ways. Despite its success, the Me Too movement promoted extreme slogans such as "Believe all women," and along with it created a climate of fear where innocent men were unfairly accused and reputations destroyed. And the most notable was the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, where Heard wrote an op-ed alleging that she was a victim of abuse. And it wasn't until 4 years after getting canceled from everything when Depp won the defamation trial for the false allegations.
I have a big concern, and it's what's going to happen in hiring going forward.
Mark Yoseloff is the director of UNLV's School of Gaming and Innovation and hired hundreds of men and women as former CEO of Shufflemaster. He says this movement will make it tougher for women to get hired, especially when they're up against a qualified man.
They might elect to hire the man because they are concerned that down the road, whether they do anything wrong or not, there might be a she said, he said.
Yoseloff says current CEOs he knows have already opted not to sit in meetings alone with women in fear they would do something to spark a complaint.
It's a craziness that no executive wants.
How and why will we talk to women at the job when she can launch a false accusation? She can say at any moment that she's uncomfortable. She can file for sexual harassment that may or may not be false. This is the danger of interacting with women in an office closed, because she can walk out of that room and say you did this and this, and now you're fired. Your reputation is gone. Your earning potential has came down, because who wants to hire somebody with an alleged harassment that can or cannot be proved? Most times it can't be proved. And this is the question we have to ask ourselves.
So a paper came out recently that looked at the impact of the Me Too movement on academia, and it actually shows that post-Me Too, women's productivity fell largely due to fewer collaborations with male researchers. The paper shows that this drop is most pronounced at universities where the perceived risk of sexual harassment accusations is highest. So the actual findings comparing research before and after the movement are right here, and as you can see, after the Me Too movement, collaborations with male researchers inside the same institution fell to close to zero. The author points out that men feel like if they they accidentally say the wrong thing, they could be canceled or fired. And this isn't just in academia. The paper also cites a 2018 study which showed that 60% of male managers are uncomfortable participating in common activities with women due to the same concerns. And a curious finding of the study was that men make up for the loss in this collaboration by just collaborating more with other men, whereas women don't make up for it.
But tonight, one retired CEO is speaking out about why he thinks this might end up having the wrong effect on women in the workforce.
Steve, Tricia, well, this new wave of women standing up against sexual misconduct has led to all sorts of changes. But tonight, one CEO believes it may be preventing women from getting the jobs they want. From the entertainment industry to the gaming world, women everywhere are standing up against sexual misconduct in the workplace.
It's a new day. It is the era of the woman now.
The latest case has brought this movement right to the Las Vegas Strip. Casino mogul Steve Wynn stepping down as CEO yesterday after allegations he sexually assaulted employees. But is time.
The Me Too development, which detonated in 2017, didn't simply focus on lewd behavior. It additionally flipped work environment elements on their head. While it's been a unique advantage in calling out and tending to poisonous way of behaving, there's an awkward secondary effect nobody likes to concede. Presently, out of sheer feeling of dread toward getting blamed, a few men are pulling back from interfacing with female partners through and through. Consider it the Mike Pence rule or kickback evasion, anything that, and so on, the result's something similar. Men avoiding ladies as much as possible. Also, let's not mince words. This isn't innocuous. At the point when men quit connecting with, ladies miss out on essential mentorship and profession learning experiences. Picture this. Without male guides, the pool of good examples for ladies evaporates quick. The discriminatory constraint just got somewhat thicker. For the ladies attempting to climb the positions, it resembles being caught in a shadow, observing as a passive spectator with no genuine way ahead. This seclusion doesn't simply kill desire, it hits work fulfillment and prosperity like a destroying ball. It leaves ladies feeling sidelined, similar to their true capacities, enclosed on the grounds that nobody needs to take a chance with crossing some non-existent line. Furthermore, here's the unpolished truth. On the off chance that we continue moving along these lines, we're not fixing working environment culture. We're digging ourselves a more profound opening. We needed responsibility and decency. However, in the event that trepidation and evasion are presently directing connections at work, fairness is taking a secondary lounge. Furthermore, that is not progress. It's simply another sort of obstruction, with ladies following through on the cost. Balance was never about exchanging one bunch of shameful acts for another. Yet that is precisely exact things occurring when doubt eclipses trust. Men feeling like they need to stay away from ladies to safeguard themselves isn't progress. It's relapse spruced up in new garments. Assuming we continue to head down this way, we're not tackling the issue. We're building walls that will bring ages to destroy. Since genuine change is tied in with breaking boundaries, not building new ones.
No means no, that's another one. No means no. It's like, no, it doesn't. All right? Look, no means no. No, that means no. All right, but no, stop it. What are you doing? Oh my God. You're being so bad. Stop it. No. Yeah, that's not a fucking no. That means I want to do it, but I'm afraid you're going to judge me, so I'm just going to make it look like it was your idea so you don't figure out that I've already performed this act with 40 other fucking people. Right? But then you go to court and you get a bad read and there's some guy reading it. Your Honor, she said no. Stop it. What are you doing? You're being so bad. Yeah, and you're just sitting there like, she didn't fucking say it like that. She didn't say it like that.
teenage boys now, they are so terrified of the consequences of putting a foot out of line. It's hard enough being a young teenager, working out how things are, working out how to do dating and all of that, without the terror that if you touch in the wrong place at the wrong time, you may find that your whole life is destroyed.
See, I
and there
like
is
that
far
terror.
too much. Well,
I like that.
As a
I
mother
think
of
that
a
men
teenage
should be
boy, I
frightened.
don't like that terror.
I do.
Malicious thing I've ever
That
heard.
is
I think that
awful.
men should be frightened
I think
to
you
touch
feel
women in a way
differently
that
if you
they're
were,
not
if
comfortable
you were.
with.
But we're talking about
Yeah, but we're not talking
teenagers,
about. We're not
children.
talking about.
We're talking
yeah, but
about
it's an
young
interesting
children.
thing that you see. I would say that attitude actually is part of the problem too.
It
That
is.
that's to me toxic femininity.
It is.
That is saying you should all be terrified, you men, if you put one.
Assaulting.
Well, I think we all understand what sexual
What is
assault
an
is.
assault?
What Isabel's talking about is that young teenage clumsiness
really
in many
hard.
cases, which is now being recategorized as assault. Is that a problem?
It's not being recategorized as assault. It's always been assault. It's just we're finally talking about
I don't agree
it.
with that. But I do think it's really hard for a 16, 17-year-old boy now in this environment to know even how to start
They are all
having
terrified.
some kind of physical relationship with a woman.
Those good boys are all terrified. I know that from talking to my son. He's just like, I'm just not going there. Is that healthy?
Yes.
This concludes our A4 anonymous coverage for the day. Click that like button, please. Make sure you hit that notification bell in addition to subscribing. Leave a comment telling us what you think. Have a great day tomorrow.